Hi, so as most of you probably already knew or figured out from our discussions in class, I have been on a couple cruises, and that's what led me to have an interest in cruise tourism and the effects that the COVID-19 pandemic is having. And then I also wanted to look at how neoliberalism is playing a role in cruise tourism during the so tourism throughout the globe is being impacted by the respiratory illness COVID-19 through the implementation of travel bans by any means of travel, and this is including no sail orders, which were put in place by both the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and WHO, the World Health Organization. The region of the Caribbean is one area in particular being impacted greatly by these no-sail orders. This is due to the heavy economic dependency the region has on tourism, which largely is due to neoliberalism and the contributions of these transnational corporations that are the main stakeholders in tourism within the Caribbean. This study was conducted to explore how cruise tourism in the Caribbean will be affected by neoliberalism both during and in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the past, there have been a couple of studies on neoliberalism and cruise tourism in the Caribbean, but there have not been many studies on the effects of neoliberalism on cruise tourism in the Caribbean during a pandemic or epidemic. So, to study how cruise tourism in the Caribbean is being affected by neoliberalism during this pandemic, a number of news articles, journal articles, and then cruise line social media accounts were examined to see if there are any trends emerging in terms of the future of cruise tourism in the Caribbean. Through using grounded theory, it was discovered that many major cruise corporations are seeing an increase in future bookings within the Caribbean. This was done through assessing the social media accounts. I mainly looked at the Instagram account for Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and I just looked at a couple of their more recent posts, and I looked at the comments to see what people were saying because I was curious if people would be interested in going back on cruises or what the feelings were, and it was discovered that many people really want to go on cruises right now. They're not scared of the pandemic. A lot of them would rather be stranded on a cruise ship than be at home and be safe. It was also discovered that neoliberalism plays a huge role in Caribbean tourism through the corporations that own these cruise lines are the main people that have stake in this tourism, and they are the main drivers of tourism. And without these cruise companies coming in to the ports in the Caribbean, there's not much going on in the economy if there are no cruise passengers. Something else that was discovered was that there's a lack of geographic ties with cruise tourism, which might be what makes it more unique, is that the geography of cruise tourism is that it has a lack of geographic ties. If it's not working out at the port, there's not enough revenue coming through for the cruise companies, they can decide to just move the ship to a different location. The Caribbean isn't working out. Oh, they can move it to the east coast or more north than the east coast of the United States, or they could move it to the west coast. Due to cruises being ships and being able to float, it's very easy to move a cruise ship around. And then this study also resulted in the future of cruising being very speculative. the studies that were examined, it's hard to say what's going to go on with cruising in the future due to there not being any knowledge on when the pandemic is going to end, and there's not even a whole lot of knowledge on coronavirus as a whole.